Hey girls and guys and anything in between, I'm not assuming anyone's gender. I'm looking a bit different today, I'm very naked. Today I'm going to show you how I cover my eyebrows for anything. This is the technique I'll use for performance, for stage, for drag, for HD camera work. As you can see, pretty damn easy. You only need a couple of products, it's nice and cheap, you don't need any speciality stuff, you can literally get it all from your local sort of town. If your town sells basic shit, you'll be able to do this. So yeah, if you want to learn how to get perfect HD brows, keep on watching. First step is picking your weapon of choice. I've gone through every brand of glue stick apart from Elmer's because it's difficult to get in the UK, but I've had like all the own brand glues, Poundland glues. Pritt Stick is the best. I use the Magic Pritt Stick. It's supposed to come out blue and dry clear like Elmer's, but it just goes on clear. I don't like normal Pritt Stick as I think it goes really chunky and thick, but the Magic one just seems to work. So, and I'm too scared to try any of the other ones. So, what you'll need is your glue stick. You will need a very fine toothed comb. Mine is disgusting. As you can see, I've got very thick man brows. So they're going to need some taming to get them nice and flat. So I take the glue, I don't roll it up too much. And then what I'll do is I'll go against the grain to start with, like so. So they go really horrible and all over the place, and make sure you get every hair coated. And then I'll sort of rub in circles like so to really get a good amount of product on there. And then important, go right in the front of the brow because that's the bit that pops a lot of the time. And then while that's nice and tacky, take your comb, and I comb mine straight through and up like so to make them nice and flat, and make sure you go all the way through. Sometimes your eyebrows, depending on how thick they are, they'll take a couple of goes depending on how tacky your glue is. And then with this sort of the harder edge of the comb, I'll just sort of pull them down so they're nice and flat. If you have got a blow dryer, go ahead and use that. I can't be bothered to get one out, so I'm not going to today. I'm just going to let them dry naturally. But a blow dryer will ensure for the best sort of protection, if you like, so they will really get glued down there. That's what I do whenever I've got to be wearing a look for hours. I will always blow dry it to make sure that the glue stays nice and flat. This side is getting pretty close to being completely dry, so I'll get my baby wipe once again and just start to take off any excess around the brow, and I'll even run that over the eyebrow as well just to remove a tiny bit of the excess glue. We want to work in thin layers and build it up, because if you're going with one thick layer, one, it's impossible to remove anything, two, it's just horrible looking. So work in the thinnest layers possible. I leave a lot more glue at the front of the brow because that's the bit, as I said, always pops. But just make sure that they start off smooth from the offset, and then anything you add will only just help the texture a little bit. So what I'll do now is go straight from the stick, starting at the middle of my face, press nice and hard and just push straight up the same way that your eyebrows are now going. And now what we're doing is, because the eyebrow is now nice and flat, we're going to start to remove the texture from the brow so they're nice and smooth, because what I find is people tend to flatten their brows but they don't smooth them. So they'll be flat against the skin but you'll still see every hair texture through the makeup, which is not what you want. And make sure that you go right under the brow. I like to personally do 2 to 3 layers of this, but obviously depending on how thick your brows are, if you've got very thick brows then go in with more, but you can sort of read this as you go. So do that, let a layer of it dry, and then really gently sort of push your finger over it to feel the texture, and if there's still a hell of a lot of texture, I'm going with another one. And then once again, I'm going to take my wipe and remove any excess glue around the brow. So when you feel the texture, you'll feel that it feels almost crispy in a way, which is what we don't want, because this is where I used to stop. And it looked alright, but it just looked bulky. And you don't want that. So now we're going to get gross. This is my final layer of glue that I'll be using. Make this your last step depending on how many layers you've used. You could use a baby wipe to do this, but I kind of learnt this from Trixie Mattel, and it's the best method I've found for me, and my eyebrows are fucking stubborn. Before you go in with your last layer of glue, lick it, get it really, really wet, and then that's just going to smooth the last layer out. Obviously I don't swallow during this process because I don't want to ingest any. I'm not recommending that you eat the glue, and the glue's non-toxic, so this won't kill me. The last layer is just going to make sure everything's lovely and smooth, because the saliva sort of breaks down the glue a little bit and makes it a bit thinner, a bit more smooth. Then before I move on, I like to get a fresh baby wipe and just wipe my tongue because it doesn't taste great. It's highly unpleasant doing that. So use a baby wipe while doing it. That's the last layer of glue done. This one always takes a little bit longer to dry because of the amount of wetness I've just put on the brow. But that's okay because you don't want this layer to fully dry, so it gives you a little bit more working time. Final, I'm just going to run around once more with that baby wipe and smooth over the top of the brow, any areas where it looks sort of chunky. It's normally hard to tell at this point. So then you can take your loose powder. I'm using the Kryolan transparent loose powder in TL1. If you've got really dark eyebrows, go in with a much heavier powder, such as Ben Nye's super white powder, maybe. So what I like to do is I get a dry Miracle Complexion Sponge Beauty Blender. I use the Real Techniques one because they work just exactly the same, and really load that up with powder. I'm using this dry, and then press super hard onto the brow and surrounding area, because bear in mind there will be still some glue in the surrounding area. Press that in really thick, and I like to do that before the glue sets because it gives the powder a little more something to stick to, sealing them in nicely and making sure that they're really secure in the skin. I like to leave this to cook in to make sure that the glue's really set and really secure in there. I'll leave it for normally about 5 to 10 minutes. Like, oh, this is the point in my makeup where I'm procrastinating, so I'll probably go and have a cigarette, get a drink, get things ready. Leave that to bake. So I just gently brush away the excess powder. No texture, or any texture there is, it pretty much looks like skin texture. I've got quite porous skin. There we go. Easy as that. So yeah, that's it basically. Now you can go ahead and create your masterpiece on top of this, and it will all be done. So if you enjoyed this video and it's helpful, please give it a thumbs up. That really helps me out. Share it across the world and give me attention. You can follow all my social medias. They will be linked here and down below in the description box. And until next time, I will see you later. Peace the fuck out.